Hi, folks. Welcome to the Davis Controls Lab. I'm Todd Reemtsma, and this is Geoff Wold. We're part of the controls team here at Davis. So today we're going to talk a little bit about wireless lighting controls. Geoff, we got wireless in all aspects of our life.
Right.
So what about wireless and lighting controls?
Yeah. I mean, it. There's lots of options, and uh, what we've seen a lot is using wireless in retrofit application. It's kind of where it started, where you don't have to pull new wire for controlling the lights, or it might be an application maybe where there's ceilings that we can't get above, or historic, spaces, but you still want to have some controllability for that space.
Absolutely. So what are some of the pros and cons of the wireless versus a wired system for lighting controls?
Yeah, well, the pros are you don't have to pull wire. You can just get power to the fixture. And so, from an installer's point of view, there's a huge advantage there in terms of the amount of labor and the extra parts and pieces that go into it. Some of the cons are that there are no wires. So, if something goes wrong, you don't have wires there that you can test. So, there ends up being a little bit of mystery if something isn't working. Why isn't it working? Is the control signal bouncing off of something in the room that's causing interference, for example?
Absolutely. One of the things that I like about wireless, and certainly you kind of hit on it, is without having to run those wires, being able to just bring power, the flexibility. Certainly, if we're looking at an application where there might have been four or five fixtures, just like on a circuit, and that they were switched or dimmed together. Now with that
Yeah.
wireless controls, just like we can communicate to each of those fixtures separately or combine them in a different way than they were before. Um, with a wireless system.
Right. And we've always been advocates of if you can pull a wire, pull a wire. Some of the places where you might not want to do that will be warehouses where you can pull wire in a warehouse, but the runs get to be so long that it gets to be labor intensive, or exterior applications. It might be new construction or retrofit, but wireless is probably your best bet for exterior applications when you need to dim the lights. And energy code says in outdoor, you got to dim the lights after midnight by 30% or more. And so I'm a huge advocate for using wireless controls in outdoor applications, because the other thing you don't get in outdoor applications are walls that interfere with the wireless signal.
Line of sight, absolutely. So, what about an example where we might be looking at that exterior, but we also want to control our interior lights? Can we do can we do wired and wireless controls in the same system? Is that a good idea? A bad idea?
It could be a really good idea. A hybrid lighting control system, for example, wired inside, wireless outside. Um, but you don't. But we have to be careful not to just completely mix and match, because what we really don't want to see, or can't sometimes even see, is both wired and wireless within one room or space, because then you have different protocols. You might have lights turning on and off or dimming at different times or at different speeds, and because wireless and wired don't necessarily sync up at the same rate. So within a space, keep it the same, wired or wireless. But maybe you use wireless in one room and wired in another, because you can pull a wire there and you can't in the other room.
How does it affect the control side of things when we're talking about the switches, the sensors, et cetera? Do we see wired wireless differences within the devices themselves for the controls?
Well, certainly, because wireless devices are going to have antennas built in. They might require batteries, so you got to have to think about that. In a retrofit application, a wireless wall switch might make sense because there's existing power there, so you don't have to put in a battery powered device there. But the motion sensors in the ceiling uh, might have to be battery powered, and if you're talking about a sensor that's mounted 30 feet up in the air, that just might not be a great application for a battery powered device, because to change the battery, you got to get a lift in. So that might be a case where, hey, it makes more sense to embed that control into the fixture, because the fixture is constantly powered, but then use wireless control so you don't have to run wires between all the fixtures. And ice arena is a place where I see that used like fairly often. They do a retrofit to LED. They go wireless because they don't have to pull wires to all the new fixtures, but then they can all be grouped together, so they can be controlled together in the different zones that they want to create.
Absolutely. So Geoff, if we've got one of our customers that's out there looking at an application and they're wondering, should I choose wired? Should I choose wireless? Who should they call?
Well, uh, reach out to your favorite rep. Obviously, that's going to be Davis and Associates. Links below. But we want to be that resource for you to kind of help answer those questions, because sometimes it might not be very clear of what is the best route to go.